Hello and welcome to Derailed. This is episode 1, our pilot episode. Actually, it's not our pilot episode. We recorded that last week, but we didn't release it. So this is our actual episode 1. And the day is November 29th, 2022. My name is Greg, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow hosts, Adash and Harry. Say hi, boys.
What up?
Hi.
You did not say hi, but that's fine. Today it is my turn to choose the topic. I decided that. And the topic is... what was the topic?
Physical
pain. Oh, yeah. The topic is pain, specifically physical pain, not mental pain. That's a topic we're reserving for...
3-4 podcasts.
Oh wait, I actually wrote down some emotional pain stuff.
No, we're purely limiting to physical pain because emotional pain is going to be a very depressing episode, I feel like.
Yeah. And also possibly. Maybe not one we can release.
Or it's going to be hilarious. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, so this is the physical pain exercise episode. But before we get into that, how are we doing? I haven't actually talked to you guys in a while, so this is not even like
in pain,
just a podcast
but
thing.
Not really physical. Since we're on the topic of physical pain and how I'm doing, let me begin a very quick story. I was at work Sunday, and basically it was a really slow day of work. There wasn't much to do. My work just involves setting up like meeting rooms and ballrooms and stuff. This time around, since most of the events were done, it was the end of a Sunday, we were just like packing everything up. And so we were just stacking a whole bunch of tables, 6-foot tables. This isn't anything I haven't done before. It's routine at this point. And it's a job that's doable by one person, but it's like 10 times faster if you have 2 people. So I was doing it with another person, and we were lifting. So you lift up the legs, close the thing, so it's basically just a plank. And then you just toss it onto a rack, which is like it's just imagine like a wooden board with wheels or 4 wheels, and then you have supporting frames that go upward so that you can stack a whole bunch of tables onto one thing and you can move them. And so as we were doing that, you have one person lift from one end of the table, other person lift from the other end, and you just toss it on there. But except one time, we don't really talk about this because, it's routine. And if we talked about it for like the 100 of them, it would get a little too fucking... It'd just be annoying. But unfortunately, one time I was adjusting and I went to say, like, wait, don't drop it. But before I did that, he dropped his side of the table while I was adjusting mine, and so the end result was that my middle left finger got fucking smashed under the table.
Bro, that sounds
fingers
terrible.
Getting crushed are some of the worst things.
Yeah,
especially when it's cold out.
Luckily, we were inside. But
I've done like... Sorry, go ahead.
But essentially, like, instantly I was these sorts of things, it's like the worst pain is the instant pain when your body's like, what the fuck did you just do? And so during that point I was just like jumping around, just like trying to like contain my scream. And so I was fine, but like I looked at my finger, like the other guy was like apologizing. It's like it's fine. It's like it happens. It was an accident. But then like he looked at my finger and like gasped, and I was like, "What?" I looked down, and yeah, it swelled, and there's a blood clot. So like I was trying to recover. I was like, "Let's just like wait till I'm fine, and we'll just continue the work." But unfortunately, our crew leader came in. And I thought about like hiding it from him, but I really quickly realized that's not possible. So I guess, I don't know, I didn't like say anything, but he noticed it, and then he was like, what happened? And so like the other guy explained. And the unfortunate thing is he's like, let's go to the first aid. And I should have protested. I should have been like, no, I'm fine. But I don't even think he'd have listened to me anyway. He took me to first aid, and my first thought was like, what if they like fill out a report? Because like reports are tedious and they can have consequences. And so of course we go to first aid. The lady takes a look. She gives me an ice pack. It's fine. By this point I'm fine. Like if nobody touches the wound, I'm fine. If they touch it, it's a little bit of pain. That's just how it is. Like this isn't even gonna hurt in 2 days. But then she goes to fill out the report, and the guy's like, are you sure we need to do that? And she's like, yeah, I have to. And he's like, yeah, but like if you do that, he might need a doctor's note to come back to work. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, we don't need any reports. But unfortunately, she was like, I have to do it. Like, it's my job. And I was like, well, I can't really, like, I don't want to get her in trouble. So we ended up filling out the report. And so the entirety of like yesterday, I was like, please don't tell me I need a fucking doctor's note to work, because I don't know the first thing about getting a doctor in Canada. The only thing I know is it's slow as balls. But luckily, I think mostly because I finished my shift, and I was fine afterward. They haven't, like, no one's messaged me saying I need a doctor's note to return, so I think I'm good. But yeah, the funny thing about that is, like, yeah, there was a lot of physical pain. But honestly, I was more annoyed at the fact that I might need to go to the doctor than I was at the pain.
That is the world we live in.
Bro, that is very interesting, their process for that. Because I have, the amount of times I have cut my fingers, cut myself, fucked my shit up at work, at any of my jobs, we have never cared. It's like, oh, just get a Band-Aid, patch it up.
Yeah, but that's the difference between North Carolina and BC. BC is very serious about
work standards.
Yeah.
Or like at Taco, one of my first ever jobs, Taco Bell, when I like gashed the mess out, it was funny because I was opening up a box and I had a box cutter and I was cutting it toward my hand, and I literally, right before I sliced it, I was like, dang, this would go really poorly if I slipped and cut my finger. And guess what? I slipped and cut my finger. So like, I got my thumb, like basically my thumb open. It was bleeding out. And I was just looking at my hand. I was like, it's bleeding. I walked up to my manager and just showed her my hand. And he's like, what the hell happened?
Jesus Christ.
It was basically at the end of my shift anyways. But they're just like, we just like, put a Band-Aid on it. Yeah. So they have like this special like blue Band-Aid that's supposed, you know, whatever's their specialty marking showing that you're injured or whatever. And so I just put a Band-Aid on, put a glove, and kept working. And I was just like, yep, just another day.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I would have kept working. I would have gone the fuck home. Especially for minimum.
I'm glad I've never injured my fingers, because everything I do, my fingers are quite essential for. So playing violin,
another
keyboards.
Much shorter story. I remember one day I was at the park with my brother, and my the park's like right next to our apartment. So my sister like comes rushing out in tears. I'm like, what the fuck happened? She's like, mom. And I'm like, bro, like she made me panic. And so I went there and like, there was a lot of blood. My mom was fine, but she had to go to the hospital because my mother, I love her to death, but this dumb, like she was doing the mixer, and it's like, you know, the food processor where it has like the shredder that's like near the top of the processor.
Oh boy.
So she was like, I don't remember what she was cutting, but obviously it wasn't going in. So my mother, in all her eternal wisdom, stuck her fucking finger in there as she turned it on. Oh my
god!
And that thing sliced open. They needed to give her like one of those like finger casts.
I just hate the idea of that.
Wait. I have the exact same story, but it's a little different. So
it took months, but yeah.
I was not here for this. I don't remember if I was even born yet.
Okay.
But this is a story my mom has told, in which so you guys know my mom cooks a lot, and she does all her own chopping and stuff. So it's not that interesting of a story. Basically, she was just chopping a vegetable, and then she chopped her finger, and it apparently went like halfway through her entire finger, and it was like hanging. And they had to basically do the same thing of just like trying their best to make sure it didn't fall off.
Oh, that's just
Christ.
She still has the scar from that.
Wait, hold on.
Like, oh,
first of all,
God,
what kind of vengeance rage does she cut vegetables with? Like, hello?
Yeah, it's just that speed, bro. When you're going that fast.
If you got a sharp knife and you're not really, I can definitely see if you're putting some force into it. There's been times when I've like cut my finger back. It's not many. Definitely I can count the amount of times I've cut myself with a knife on like one hand, and like, but when I do cut it, it's like you just go through. I look down, I'm like, damn, that sucks.
All right. Well, should we get started with the actual topic?
Let's go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, there is supposed to be an intro section. I just, yeah, we can transition to the personal physical pain now because we've been sharing stories of other people's physical pain. All right, so let's. How about Harry? You go first because I'm sure you have several stories. So let's cycle through one of them.
Before we get started on each individual story, I want a question. I have a question and I want an answer from each of you. What is the worst type of physical pain in your opinion? And by type, I mean there's different kinds of physical pain. There's cuts, there's bruises.
There is internal pain, like organ pain.
Yep. There is...
there's like headaches. It's technically also physical pain.
Burns. And I think there's one more that I'm forgetting. Sprains.
Look, it hasn't happened to me, but I will never not think that there is pregnancy. I think that's pretty high up there. But from a guy standpoint, kidney stones. I cannot like even thinking about that hurts my soul.
Yeah.
Like the process of getting them out of your body is that like when I think about that, man. I would
and like the fact
definitely rather get my leg broken.
the fact that like kidney stones are like jagged
stabbed.
edges and whatnot,
and it has to come out that. It's just even imagining that hurts me. So I think that's my answer.
We don't drink Mountain Dew. We don't drink Mountain Dew religiously, so.
Yeah, I did for like a month. Like 2 months, but
you're the first to get kidney stones, then, Greg.
Oh no! Please no! Don't jinx it.
I would say pain. Other than like that kind of pain, maybe the pain that's like basically long lasting and quite disturbing. Maybe like with the times I've burned myself, it's been kind of bad because it like lingers for a long time, and this can kind of be in with like bad sprains because if you walk, you basically constantly in pain. But at least with sprains, you can kind of mitigate that if you get it like but like a brace or like crutches. You don't really need to plant on it. But probably something that's like more not really permanent, but long lasting and also like really bad headaches, I think are some of the worst things ever. Just because it just keeps you up. You can't focus. You feel like shit.
I mean, allegedly, your nails being torn off is like the most painful bodily thing that can be done to you.
Last time I checked, none of us been tortured
because like most of your nerves are located. There, so.
Harry, what Harry said, because I already have my answer to this. And it's not even close for me. Like, okay, kidney stones are different. I've never experienced them, so I'm sure that's much worse. So, but in terms of like everyday normal pains that you experience, I would much rather a like higher level cut than a lower level burn, because burns, I swear to God, are the worst fucking thing you can imagine. Because the pain gets worse over time. It doesn't get better; it gets worse.
Yeah,
especially
if you mess with it.
I don't think I've ever actually like burned myself. Like I've gotten like minor burns like on my tongue from like eating things that are too hot, but I've never like actually full on burned myself. So I would not know.
I guess I'll save my story for later because Harry's going first.
If you remember, Greg, that one time we went camping, like right after we came back from Star Guides, and I tried to pick up the like smoldering log with my hand, and I burned my thumb.
I don't remember this.
I remember that because I don't know. That was
of course you would remember that.
Yeah,
that was painful. That was stupid of me.
Did you like burn yourself, or was it like a temporary like?
I think it was a very minor burn, but that's probably the most burnt I've ever burned anything.
Okay, yeah.
Because that hurt for a couple days.
Yeah.
And it just never basically went away. I just couldn't like soothe the burning sensation at all. And it was really annoying.
Yeah, I guess I remember that camp trip. That was interesting.
Oh yeah, no, that was something else. That was it was so we're good at getting derailed already.
Yeah, no, that's a story for another time.
Yeah. So transitioning into like the pain.
Yeah, let's get to your
one of
story.
the things I was gonna say, like the lingering pain, probably one of the worst like lingering pains I had was when I first found out I was allergic to bees, because everything was like going
Wasn't that
crazy.
pretty recent?
It was like within the last like half year. It was around middle
When
of
Harrison nearly
this
died.
past summer. Bro, I really thought, like, I was like, damn, this might be it. This is beat. Because it was so... The story, I was mowing the lawn, and I've been stung by bees before, and I never had an allergic reaction, right? So I would have never guessed that this would have happened to me when I got stung. I was mowing the lawn, and this motherfucking bee just pulled up on my ass and said, yo, fuck you, and stung me. It stung me in my ankle, and I was like, you bitch. But I kept mowing the lawn, right? And like towards the end, I was like, yo, I'm feeling mad tired and mad like irritated all over like my back and like my scalp for some reason.
Wait, sorry to interrupt you. How was the pain of the sting itself? Was it like a shot, or was it like...
It's like a little...
getting
It's
hit
like
by
a
like
lingering
bee?
shot. A little bit more painful than a shot, but it just kind of lingers around. And it kind of
But it
gets
wasn't,
more
like, crazy.
irritable.
Oh, okay.
It starts getting more irritable just because like kind of like you kind of scratch at it here and there. It's
Wait,
like
Harry,
what's up?
Sorry. So, like, when you got stung, like, did you even stop, or were you like, it's fine, and you just moved on?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even. I just kept mowing. I was like, you bitch.
Okay,
And I just
I
kept
think
going.
I'm just bitch made, boys, because when I got stung, I was 8 or 9. I remember I got stung. I didn't realize I got stung, right? But the pain there was just like this weird stinging feeling in my arm, and I was like, ooh, it felt like, because we were sitting on a railing, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to take my hand off the railing because it's too hot, because it's metal. But I took my hand off, and the pain kept getting worse. And then, like, at one point, I remember I was just on the ground screaming. I was like, "What is happening?" And then my mom realized
you were 8 or 9, and Harry was 20 when he told
yeah,
this
but
story.
like I distinctly remember this pain, and like it was not mild. At least for me.
I mean, it could have. There are different types of bees, right?
Yeah, I
this
think
one wasn't in
hornets and wasps hurt a lot worse.
Yeah.
Than just regular like worker bees. And I've been stung by a couple like worker bees and whatnot. And it sucks because it gets really irritable. And I'm just like, it sucks.
The bee that stung Harry was like a peasant.
Yeah, no.
The bee that stung you was like a noble.
By the way, they were, I think, either Asian bees or African stinging bees.
Asian bees.
Bro.
Yeah, but yeah, so I think it probably is just that. There was so actually funny story. So it was on our railing. This was when we lived in Bangalore for 3 months. And so we went outside to try and 4 hours later, my mom, because I was still very upset, of course. So my mom was like, "Okay, let's just go and kill the bees," because we saw one other bee on the railing. So like, let's just go out and kill it. So we went out and we smacked it and we killed it. Little did we know, on the other side of the railing, opposite us, there were like 10 fucking bees.
I am the knight. I am bee.
And they all rushed us, bro. I have never been more terrified in my life. We ran back inside, closed the patio door. There was like 2 bees in there. I was screaming. My mom was screaming. It was unpleasant.
So it was you. That bee went after Harry because he was a hitman because Harry's your friend.
It's all your fault, Dash.
It was you all
They were scheming the whole time.
You
They're
killed little Timothy. He was 9.
like
9
9 hours
bees
old.
is a fucking 9
in bee in human years, so he was actually like 13 seconds. I don't know what bee lifespan is. All right, Harry, go on with your story.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
derailed.
yeah. So I was mowing, and like it was so weird because there's poison ivy around here and there on some of the edges, because there's like some woodish areas. And so I've never had an allergic reaction to poison ivy either. I don't know if I've actually really been in contact with it. So but there's been times I walked like short pants, and I was like, oh, I looked down like, damn, that's some poison ivy. But nothing's ever happened. Since that's also, I think, technically an allergic reaction. So I started getting this feeling like down my back and my scalp, which I thought was really strange. I was like, why the fuck is it my scalp and my back? Because I have a shirt on. But then it started happening on like my arms and legs too. And then I was like, yo, this is so weird. I was like, bro, this poison ivy is fucking me up. so I finished mowing, another 15 minutes or so, finished mowing. And when I said I was getting so damn tired, I was like, breathing? Not it right now. Not feeling this breathing shit. And so I went inside. I drank some water. And I was like, if it's this poison ivy, I gotta wash off or something and figure it out. And I went up, took a shower, started showering. I about passed out in the shower just trying to breathe, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because my whole body was like tingling, and I started seeing the bumps all over my arms and everything. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
I have to interject. I want people to know that this happened. I didn't even know it was this insane, but Harry almost died. And then what the boys got was a single Snapchat text that said something like, "Yo, bees are no joke," or something like that. Like the intensity of the situation was not sold through that.
No, the next day he got on Discord, right? Actually, I think maybe the same day. I'm not sure. No, it was the next day. And so he got on Discord and he was like, it was pretty rough. And so I was like, oh, rip. And I was making jokes. And then he went through the story. I was like, wait, Harry, you nearly died. And I was like, I guess I did. And I'm like, no, don't say it I guess, motherfucker, what?
Bro, I was just chilling in the shower.
I just love that, the same day that it happened, your sort of notification for your almost death was just a single Snapchat text. That was just that happened. That was interesting.
I was like, damn, that's crazy.
That's one of those texts that I just read and I was like, oh man, he got stung by a bee. Damn. And then I learned later that text was a post almost to death experience.
If he had collapsed in that shower, I think we actually lose Harry.
Yeah, no, bro. But because, your boy was in the shower.
Scarlet is a bit
you could have choked to death.
Yeah, no. She probably wouldn't have picked up on, because I didn't say anything, because I just thought it was the poison ivy. I was like, this is weird. Yeah. But in the shower, I was like, bro, I might really pass out in this bitch, because I every time I closed my eyes, everything went black. And I was like, I might actually pass out in the shower. And I thought, I was like, if I pass out in the shower when Scarlet calls 911, I want to be butt-ass naked when the ER comes. And I'm like, I can't be butt-ass naked when these motherfuckers show up at my house. That was my concern.
So that was Harry's motivation to live. He was like, I ain't gonna let some stranger see me butt ass naked. Yeah, I'm getting out of the shower.
They can't know that I'm a grower, not a shower. So I can't have these motherfuckers know that shit. So I got out, wiped off, and I called Banana.
Go on.
Yeah, no. I called Banana and I was like, I think, and then, so I started thinking, I was like, there's no way this is poison ivy, because poison ivy, I don't think fucks you up like that. And I was like, it's gotta be that motherfucking bee. So I called Banana, told her, and she was like, all right, this isn't good. She called her mom just to verify, possible what it possibly could have been, because at one point, Banana's mom wanted to do nursing, so she does know some medical stuff.
Was it still getting worse while you were calling her?
It was basically I was starting to level out and breathe sort of, but this is when I really start feeling my throat start clamping up.
God,
that's what it's called. Hives, the bumps all over my arms and stuff. The hives started really become prevalent. And I was like, this is such a weird sensation, because it's not really itchy, but at the same time you want to scratch, and when you scratch it, it doesn't really relieve the itch sensation, and it just kind of lingers and feels numbish, and it's really weird.
Terrible.
It was awful, because the thing was, it was all over my body. It's my back, my scalp, my arms, my leg, and it was so annoying.
This sounds awful.
So I dried off, sat down. I told Scar, I was like, you might have to drive me to urgent care, and she was like, I gotta drive, and I was like, yeah.
This is when he explained this, by the way, because he also explained Scarlet was like, where do I go? And Harry's like, motherfucker, I am dying.
Because I have the name on the phone.
Do you want me to drive or do you want to drive? Because normally you don't like other people driving your car. You would be like, I'm dying.
Because I was probably like, I could drive right now, but it won't be great. And Benita was like, no, Scarlet needs to drive. And Scarlet was like, where do I go? And I was like, urgent care, motherfucker. Take me to urgent care. So we went to urgent care, right? And the thing was, I felt like shit. I think I looked like shit. And so before us, there's this mother and daughter. Mm-hmm. I think they came in for some cold or COVID, the normal shit. And so we came in after them. They had appointment or whatever. And I know
great.
They had a cold, and I was like, yeah, I think I got an allergic reaction to like B. I got stung, and I have some sort of weird reaction, and I was told her, you know, I was like,
and you probably looked
shit.
Miserable.
Yeah, no.
If you were swelling.
I felt like passing out, and I honestly, at one point, I felt like throwing up. But I was like, why do I feel like throwing up? I didn't eat anything. Maybe that's why, but who knows? But the thing was, I got admitted before them. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Probably my throat clamping like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I probably could have gave the best head at that point. I'm just kidding.
No.
But like, so I basically got admitted before them, and I remember the mother was looking at me like, "What the fuck? How the fuck did they come in after me, but get admitted before me?" And I'm just thinking like, you know, I think my issue is a little bit more urgent than yours, possibly. And so I went in there. I told them what was going on. And then they said, yeah, that's an allergic reaction. They went and, you know, prepped some medication. They first had me take these pills. It was like, I think the pills were a steroid. Or, the pills were like some sort of steroid or something. And they're like, well, give that like 5-10 minutes. And we'll see if it doesn't like improve anything. We're going to have to give you like a direct shot of Benadryl in my ass.
Ooh.
It was like they had to inject it to the largest like meat area or something, and you know, my ass kind of fat. I mean, and so I was like, damn. I was like, all right, that's fine. I don't really care. And then there's like, in worst case, if that doesn't work, we're gonna have to give you, or we can administer an EpiPen, but then you have to be taken to the ER because it's like, even though the EpiPen will help, you still gotta be monitored at the ER for possible reactions to it. So if you don't know, you know, the reactions to the EpiPen.
EpiPens can.
And so we sat there for a little bit. Yeah, no, my throat would not let up, and that shit. They're like, the main thing is your throat can't keep clamping down because if you stop breathing, that's not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, 5 minutes went by. That the steroids didn't help, so I had to, you know, lower my pants a little bit, and they gave me a shot in my ass. That was something I never thought I would have to do. Bend over in front of a chick, a random nurse, and have her put some shit in my ass, and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy."
Come on.
Wait, but Linnea does this all the time.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. No, she doesn't. She wishes she did.
This was not new for you.
Whatever. Suck my dick. And so we sat there, and they're like, they wanted to, you know, give me as much time to hopefully the Benadryl would kick in, because the EpiPen was like, you know, last resort, because it's not cheap. And then because the insurance may not always cover it, and they're going to I think they said they're like they would administer it whether insurance approved it or not. But like, you know, at that point I was like, do whatever the fuck you gotta
determine if you live or die.
Technically, yes, they can. The medical insurance American medical insurance can determine whether you get something or not. If they don't approve like a operation or something, the person on the other end doesn't have to be someone who knows medical shit to approve whatever medical assistance you need.
Actually, you are correct.
Is absolutely stupid, but that's a different thing. But
personally, if that happened to somebody I know and they died, I would find a way to track down the person.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, luckily after like 15 minutes, shit starting to settle a little bit. The highs went away, which was great. My throat was still a little tight, but it started to relax a little bit. And that Benadryl, bro, that shit kills, like knocks you the fuck out. And they gave me
you didn't get to EpiPen stage.
No, I don't. I haven't. They gave me a prescription for EpiPen, and I just picked up some Benadryl as well. Since then, I've been stung again. Since then, but I immediately went back inside and took the Benadryl. Nothing happened,
okay.
So I'm gonna assume the Benadryl kicked in first. But I do have EpiPens just sitting in my car now, just in case I ever get stung again outside.
You got stung again?
Yeah, no. Mowing the
it's not even a joke. There's actually a bee faction camping out at your house.
Yeah, no. These motherfuckers like, we'll go get him this time. We'll go get this bitch.
It's all a ploy to get to me.
Yeah.
No. That was probably one of the worst, like, long-term, like, pains. Like, because it was just the whole time my throat was like, yo, fuck you, idiot. Oxygen? Nah.
Actually, not being able to breathe is a different kind of pain.
It wasn't. Just general breathing was painful, or it wasn't going great.
I see. It is all connected, so
yeah. From that's probably the worst long-term pain. The worst pain I think I've ever felt was when I fractured my tibula and fibula. It was a clean fracture through both of them. This was in 6th grade. What's it called? The last day of gym, we were playing dodgeball, and I decided to when we were running toward the second base, I decided to like twist my leg weird and plant all my force onto that shit to hit the base. And so all you hear is this loud as crack, and I just started crying, and I just couldn't walk on it.
That's
and so
fair.
it was like they're like, oh shit, what's wrong? You know what's going on? I was like, I don't know. And the girl who was at second base was like, all I heard was a loud crack, right? And so you know how like your leg normally is like when you sit down, your leg angle is like maybe like 10-15 degrees to the side.
Wait,
my leg was like 90 degrees.
Wait,
over.
I love that someone walks up, sees your leg bent like sideways.
Oh yeah, no.
And they're like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah, no. So when I was sitting in the nurse's office,
with, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, no. That they literally like they. I was in the nurse's office. They looked at my leg. They gave me an ice pack, and they're like, it's not twisted. What's wrong with it? And the thing is, they had like a fire drill or something, and like I couldn't stand up without like it being in pain. And they're like, it's a fire drill. He's got to get out of here. Like he literally can't get up without being in pain. And they don't have a wheelchair, so they're like, just sit there and chill. And so it was kind of awkward because I was sitting in the office.
A fire drill happens like right after?
Yeah.
What?
Man.
What is that timing?
It happened like maybe like 30 minutes after I was chilling.
Events.
Yeah, chilling in the office. And so
with your leg bent.
Yeah, no.
the wrong
Like they're like,
direction.
no.
And then a fire drill went, and they're like, all right, go.
I think it was
Crawl,
pretty crazy.
motherfucker.
The thing, my leg was just like limping over like 90 degrees over. And they're like, it's not twisted, obviously, but what's wrong with it? And they just kept having me put an ice pack on it. And so, so my mom came pick me up. And the funny thing about that is we didn't go to the ER immediately. We went home, cooked dinner. I just sat in the car the whole time because I couldn't walk. So they cooked dinner and I drank some soup and then we went to the ER.
Oh my god!
And we got there and the lady who took the X-ray, she's like, it's not my job to officially diagnose things because she just takes the pictures.
Your leg fucked up. So
she's like, I'm pretty sure it broken. And so obviously the doctor comes in. And what was funny was I still at that time I hated needles so much. And so they're like, they're going to give me a shot to help with the pain. But when they were about to give me the shot, I started panicking so hard that the pain went away and they didn't have to give me the shot. Which I think was pretty crazy.
That is actually such a new thing to experience.
Such a level of fear that he literally
next time,
gaslit himself into just not being hurt anymore.
Next time you get mortally injured, Harry, just call me and then I'll come and hire some people to jump scare you out of your pain.
Bro, it probably would work. Yeah, so, they fixed up my leg from that, and that was that. Afterwards, the only times I ever hurt was when I fell on it, but that wasn't that bad. From that, I think the next one of the worst ones was when I dislocated my knee. The initial feeling of it popping out and staying out was really bad.
Why do you have so many bones starting?
Harry's just going down the list.
Yeah, so
he's like, bro, I got 2 more.
I got a couple more.
He does. Yeah, I know. I hate them.
I got like 3 or 4 more.
Let's stop on this one so we have time to hear. But
this one was pretty bad. The thing with this one was, when they had my knee came out. It was during I played rugby in high school, and so one teammate tackled me on the front. The other teammate grabbed my leg and twisted it.
Wait,
so
teammate?
It was during practice. So during practice, one guy grabbed my leg and twisted it, and the other one came from the side and tackled me. So they just literally popped my knee out forcefully. The funny thing was the guy who technically grabbed my leg to pop it out. He was. I'm about to talk mad shit. He wasn't good.
He was secretly a B.
Oh no, he was. They literally joked about because I think they called me the best for the new guys. I was the best forward, and he joined the same time I was. They're like, he took you out so he could be in the starting position. I rolled his ass 2 practices after I came back.
Yeah, when Harry wasn't in the team, it wasn't pretty.
oh yeah, no. What's it called? Slight derail, but the one thing that happened was when I played for Myers Park. Literally, I got a cut above my eye and it started bleeding, so they took me out. Yeah, as soon as I came out, that game, we were dead even. As soon as I came out, we got scored on 3 times.
Yep.
And they're like, bro, as soon as the Asian dude got out, they just got rolled. We just started fucking them up. And I was like, yeah, what can I say? But back on this, so my knee was out of its socket, just on the other side. I didn't look because I didn't want to look. But with the guys who looked, my knee was basically 95 degrees out from where it's supposed to be. And so the trainer came over and he looked at us like, damn, I've never seen this before. And so what they did was they had to like
Why
slowly...
is everyone around you so nonchalant about like extreme injuries? What the hell?
Yeah, so they took my...
I would be like
leg.
freaking the fuck out. I'd be like, call 911. What the fuck?
They took my leg and just slowly rotated because he's like he doesn't know exactly like what the proper way to do it was, but it was like maybe slowly so to mitigate the pain. So they just slowly rotated my leg back and the knee popped back in the socket. That hurt like a bitch, right? The issue with that was because of it being dislocated, there's a lot of like blood and other like fluid that got in between my socket and like where it's supposed to be.
So they had to puncture your skin?
Well, they had to like get this big ass like syringe to take it out.
Ooh.
But before that happened, I couldn't bend my knee more than like maybe from straight, maybe like the most I could bend was maybe like 150 degrees of that inner angle of your under knee. So like I could barely walk upstairs and shit. And there was a couple times like when I went back to get in the car.
Did you have to walk up this? Why were people not helping?
Well, at home and stuff. Just getting into the car. There was a couple times where I tried to get into this. Like my dad had a van that time, and so I had to technically go up to get in the van. My knee like slipped out in and out of the socket a couple times. In between getting into the car, and it was really painful.
Oh my god!
And then from then, I think until it fully like healed, there's like, and after they took out the fluid, there's probably at least a couple times where it slipped in and out just because I slightly pulled pushed the angle a little too much. I think it was before they started I did physical therapy for it. It did slide in and out, and that was like a very big shock of pain, and it would kind of linger and like tingle in the knee. So that was bad. That was not fun.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, Harry's body today is
and then it's a mausoleum of injuries.
Is able to function normally.
Yeah, and then on the chair on top, there's like the 3 concussions I've had. One of them where my nose got broken because someone kicked me in the face. But we'll talk about that later if we have time.
I feel like it was a mistake to let Harry go first because I have nothing that comes close.
Yeah, no, me neither. Yeah, I figured Harry would have the most stories about this, but man, I'm just, I'm not super surprised about the severity of the injuries that you've put your body through, but I am shocked at people's reactions to it because, like, in each of your stories, everyone around you is just like, that's happening. It's like, bro. What?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. First-hand experience. School nurses or school trainers, they just give you a bag of ice. I'm like, you're good. Give you a bag of ice. Call your parents and be like, you're good. You can figure it out.
A different direction, and your reaction is like,
I know. When I broke my leg, ice.
You'll be fine.
When I dislocated my knee, ice.
Baby.
Oh my god! All right,
bro, ice is the solution.
Okay, well, I can't top it in terms of actual pain, but I can tell you stories about how the physical pain led to more emotional pain than anything else. So, 9 years old, I was in India, and we were heading up on the Diwali festival. I don't remember at what month Diwali happened that year. Diwali is a Indian fireworks festival. It's my favorite festival of the whole year. There's actually quite a few in India, but this one's by far my favorite because you get to light a bunch of cool fireworks. I do remember enjoying the story behind Diwali as well, but for the life of me, I can't remember it right now. But anyway, it was the morning of Diwali. This is when I was 9 years old, and keep in mind, by this point, I knew that I would be going to America within a few months. So I was like, I don't really know if they celebrate Diwali there. So I was like, this might be my last ever one. And I am a fucking huge fan of fireworks. Like, I love fireworks. And so my favorite, of course, Or rockets. In India, the fireworks selection shits on the one you can find in America. Like, America's
There's so many laws around fireworks in America, so
and they're all
most of them kind of
bitch
suck.
made. Like, it's literally just like sparklers and like a couple of like things that spin around.
I mean,
so
to be fair,
fucking
those
boring.
laws are there for safety.
Yeah,
Fuck
at least in
that.
North
Makes
Carolina.
sense,
Yeah,
but-
I mean, in North Carolina you
Yeah.
can't do any big fireworks. In South Carolina, that's why you just cross the border to get those, the ones that actually shoot up in the air.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is like there are fireworks in India independent of rockets that are really good. Because when
That's
you're
true.
a kid, you can't launch rockets. They don't let you. This is central to the story, by the way.
Yeah.
So I never got to launch rockets when I was like 8 and stuff because they're just like, we don't know if you can run away fast enough. And like, you know, rockets can just explode before they go up into the sky. So you need to get a decent distance away just in case. Because it happens. It's like every time, because normally we just watch from a safe distance as the rockets get launched, and every so often, like the match goes all the way to the rocket, and the rocket just explodes on the ground. We're like, damn it! Now we have to set up a new like launching system again. So anyway, because of that, you just buy different fireworks for the kids to use, and the variety you get there, the creativeness of the fireworks in India is just different. Like, my favorite one was, like, it looks like a giant Hershey's Kiss. It's, like, I don't know, like 10 times the size, I guess. But you light that thing on fire, and, like, 2, like, snakes come out of the thing in a double helix pattern, like a DNA pattern. And, like, they keep going, they rise upwards like a snake. And it's like, that is so cool. I still don't understand how that works, but, like, I was like, that's so fucking cool. And then there's like pagodas where you light the thing and it starts as like a disc, but then it spins, and at the end of it is just a straight up like pagoda. But anyway, so this was the only year, the first year, and I was imagining since I was going to America, the only year that I would be allowed to launch the rocket.
Oh boy.
I cannot tell you how excited for this thing I was. I have never been more pumped for anything in my life. So, morning of Diwali, everyone's around. We were at my uncle's place. So I was me, my little sister, or my little cousin, who's 3 years younger than me, and then like my other cousin who was really young at the time. She was probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4. But anyway, she also had some neighbors who were closer to me in age. And so we were just playing tag and like a bunch of other games because it was morning of, and we were like, there's nothing else to do because the fireworks don't get launched till the night, and lunch is the lunch is also great, but again, it's lunch, so we just had like a few hours to kill, and we're like, all right, let's just go outside and play. So we were playing tag, and I was Seeker, and like the long and short of it is, I was just running full pelt, maximum speed. And there was like construction going on nearby, I guess. So like part of the debris was on the road. I didn't notice. My shoe got caught in the debris, and so I fell, and my knee, which I was wearing shorts, so my unprotected knee just scraped against the asphalt, and like the entire knee's skin was gone. And so like I got up, or I tried to get up, I couldn't, and I think. Yeah, I was bitch made at the time, so I don't remember, but it's probably a safe bet to assume I just cried. And then after that, like my mom took us inside, and I knew what was coming too. The worst part about it is, like when you get cut, and you know they're going to apply a disinfectant, and like I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but like a cut hurts significantly less than when they apply the disinfectant to the cut.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the disinfectant, oh my god, it actually felt like I was being lit on fire. Because there was such a, like, it was a deep cut. And so, anyway, I was, like, that was, like, the only time I remember ever sleeping midday. Just because I was just exhausted from the pain. And then, anyway, I woke up later and I was like, wait... I was like, I couldn't really like feel anything, but I remember waking up thinking, wait, I can't, like, it's difficult to walk. I was like, wait, no, I have 2 hours till the rocket launching. And so I was just like willing myself to like walk the pain away. And I was like, I still gotta launch the rockets. And my mom was like, I hate to break this to you, but that ain't happening. And I was like, no, see, it's fine. And she's like, bro, you can't walk. And like, I tried to run. And like, I think I remember like I tried to run and it was 2 steps and I think I almost blacked out. And at that point, I sat down on the bed and I just screamed because I was like, there, like I knew for a fact I wouldn't get to launch rockets that day because I was like, I can't even do the small stuff because I can't run. I can't even walk away. So even the small stuff, it's like even then you're supposed to walk away. It's just rockets, because they explode. It's like they're a lot more careful. But even for the smaller stuff, you still need to be able to like move away with some pace. Mm-hmm. And since I could barely walk, the only thing I was allowed to do was hold sparklers. And I've never felt
that sucks ass.
Yeah, because like I was so happy, I was so like excited, like I couldn't even tell you how many weeks, because my uncle, like, he took me fireworks shopping, right? So like all the fireworks, like he let me pick them out, and like I was like, I had, you plan it out. It's like, all right, we're gonna start with these, then we're gonna move on to these, and then they're gonna set up the rocket launching station, and then we'll finish it off with this, and then move on to the rockets. It's gonna be a great day. And like I remember asking him like, can I launch rockets this year? And he was like, yeah, sure. And that was like, he was like, but you only get to launch like a couple. I was like, that's fine. Like, I'll take anything I can get. And it ended with my final Diwali in India with me only ever holding sparklers. And to this day, I have not launched like actual rockets. The only consolation I ever got was last 4th of July. They bought like the rocket pack. Mm-hmm. And so my dad's friend bought it, and it was like a pack of rockets, and he let me light it, which I really appreciated because it was great. But like, it's not the same. Like, I know this sounds stupid, but there's no
wish you had
thrill
told
to
this
it.
story before you went to Canada, because literally, like on July, we always purchase like rockets and we launch them in our driveway. And last year, our neighbors were also launching fireworks in their driveway, so we were just taking turns, and it was like a really long rocket show, and it was great.
Yeah.
So if I had known you cared this much, I definitely would have pulled you
It
over.
it is one of my greatest regrets is that And the reason that like the box just doesn't hold up, and it is stupid as a reason, but it's like part of the thrill of the rocket is like
the danger.
And the ghetto-ness of it, like because the rocket launching stations are just like bottles and other stuff propped up. Like you don't have like official gear. Or like you don't, or in this case, you don't have like
with
a box.
Like a launch tube.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
the rockets upright. Yeah,
that's too professional. It's like, and I know this sounds stupid, but this is actually not a joke. Like the actual like, I don't know. It feels more personal when you do it like the other way. But it was just like I did enjoy the rockets because it's like you light it once and like 30 of them go up in the sky, but yeah. So that's like the pain, by the way, lasted for at least like 4 weeks. I couldn't walk properly, and the scar didn't fully like close for another few months, and then it took 2 years before the wound was not noticeable anymore. But all I remember from that day is that I did not get to launch those rockets.
One day we'll sit you in a wheelchair and strap a bunch of rockets to the back of it. And
I think that would be actually pretty fun. Hey, if I build that go-kart, we just put some rockets on that shit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And just absolutely.
This isn't a pain story, but I do have a firework. It's a short firework story. So I don't think you were here, Harry, but back when I worked at Red Bull, they would do Chinese New Year. They would do their own sort of party for Chinese New Year.
I might have been there actually.
Employees. Yeah, and this is one Tanya and Sonia also worked at. Two of my long time childhood friends also worked at Red Bull. So we were all at this party, and then they decided to do fireworks on the street where Red Bull is, which I'm fairly sure is
yeah,
illegal because it's not their.
there.
It's the road itself is not their property. It's just the restaurant that's their.
Yeah.
So but it was Chinese New Year, so they were like, "Fuck it, we do it." So they
ball.
did that. One of the rockets that they set off, because they were doing the sketch thing, they did not have setup. They were just like, I don't even remember how they were doing it. But what I remember is I was recording it on my phone. And then one of the rockets dropped horizontally and went right towards me and exploded like right in front of my face. And my ears were ringing. And I just remember being so like, it wasn't like a moment of panic because it happened so fast. I was just like in shock. I was just like, what just happened? But I could just hear my ears ringing, and then I like was a little bit blinded too, and I was like, what the fuck just
Side note, by the way, this is why rockets are now banned in India. But literally nobody cares. They don't even try anymore on Diwali. Like, they know.
My biggest regret from that is that I didn't get a recording of it almost hitting me, because I think I stopped recording like one rocket before
that
the one that actually hit me, because it would have been great. Like, I would absolutely have gone through that again if I could have gotten it recorded.
Also, the phone would have helped a bit.
It was just scary, but
that's actually one thing. Closer. That's one thing I actually always wanted to kind of do with like a group of friends, was like, you know, you have your water gun battles, snowball fights, you know.
If you say paintball. That you want to have a rocket battle,
but like, you
I'm
know,
just gonna have to say,
to enhance the feeling of, you know, the realist, maybe some of the battlefieldness of an airsoft battle,
Harry,
to have like little bombs of fireworks to throw at each other.
Harry, you can just enroll for the army if you want a realistic experience.
But Benea won't let me.
Okay. On the topic of airsoft, pain, and also what I'm going to be doing slightly in the future, this is mostly just to make Harry jealous. But first of all, in terms of pain, I remember when the first time I went paintballing was like after high school. It was like freezing cold, and we tried to go paintballing. Yeah, and
paintballing is the most painful, right?
Yeah, because it's cold, the balls don't break. So
they didn't burst on impact.
Yeah, you just get... So the first ever paintball shot I took... I didn't know how much these things hurt, by the way, right? First ever one that I had was straight up my neck. And so I just fell.
Said, take him out.
Yeah, no. And I was like, nope, I'm not built for this. I'm bitch made. I give up. I was gone.
They said, hey, yo, that one over there, I think we can take his ass out.
No, keep in mind, by the way,
take him out.
The people I went with had most of them had been paintballing maybe twice. 2 of them had been multiple times. Most of us had never been. Yeah. And the team we were against came in camo.
Oh, yeah. The motherfucker said, yo.
Try hard.
Yeah. And so it was a roll. I think I hit one person the entire time. I could be wrong. Maybe I just didn't hit him.
They didn't balance the teams. They were just like, we're just going to smash these teams.
So anyway, also, so I was like, airsoft? Yeah, I don't want to do that. But actually, like, I think airsoft hurts less than a non-exploding paintball.
And also, most people wear a decent amount of gear as well.
Yeah,
like
and
thick clothing,
most of the time, for airsoft, I think it's normally either only electric or spring powered. I think it's 6mm pellets. So there's the plastic ones, which are they hurt way less than the 4.5mm steel ones that I have, and like the gas power. Because the spring ones, I mean, the spring and electric can go pretty fast, but I mean, it's a much larger, and it's a plastic pellet. I mean, or BB versus fucking a steel BB.
It's just a bullet.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But also, my work apparently hosts like a airsoft game, like every so often.
That should be fun.
And so, like, they asked me if I wanted to go. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. And so, yeah, I think it's like kind of out the way, but like they were like, don't worry about that. Like, there's enough of us with cars. We'll sort that out.
Yeah, you can just...
So I think it's like 60, 70 bucks, but like for a day of airsoft, I'm willing to...
I mean, do they provide like the weapons and gear and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then that's definitely worth it.
That's really nice, yeah.
Because I was like, airsoft shit is expensive.
It's so expensive.
Just like some low-end
gear is
guns and stuff is at
expensive.
least like 100 and so.
Yeah.
And then you gotta get your like face mask, body armor and shit.
No. That's the first thing I asked is I was like they provide all the equipment and stuff, right? And he's like, yeah, like we
Yeah.
tend to rent out the entire thing, like the entire place for just us.
That's pretty cool.
And
Yeah,
then
that's awesome.
yeah, so he like explained the details of like how it worked, and then the other guy that I work with was just like, yeah, I mean, like when I went last time, I showed up, I paid like $60-70, and like we got everything we needed. So
that's the dream. I watch a lot of Node TTT airsoft.
theirs is it's
like,
crazy though.
Yeah, no. So it's like that's the dream. You would have to have a huge group of friends, and everyone has
You
to
need
have
at least
kitted out
10
airsoft
people,
stuff.
bro.
Yeah, but man, like if you can get that seems like so much fun. Like
It's the one sad thing. We don't have enough friends to do it. And the thing is, like, even if we did, kind of branch out, it's just they're not really good friends. And even some of the friends we do have just wouldn't handle it very well. If you know, or I'm not gonna, drop it. But I think I dashed know who I'm talking about.
So my story, I kind of have two short-ish ones, and I think I've told you guys both of these already, but I'll just add some context, like Harry's B story, because I did not know Harry's B story as well as he explained it today, so that was good.
Oh yeah.
Did you know mine? Because I feel like I've
in a moment.
So I don't remember because I haven't had nearly as many painful experiences physically, I think, as most people. I've never broken anything. I don't even think I've twisted anything. The most I've done is like
what the
sprained
fuck?
my finger, like playing basketball, and that's
bro.
it.
Fuck you both.
Okay, wait, but I do have some instances, and they come from two, or primarily lactose intolerance. Me and Harry are both lactose intolerant. So for me, the way it works is in the morning, and this is something that I learned from this story, actually. This is the moral of the story for the story. But in the morning, I can't like eat anything. Like it's not even just dairy. I just like can't eat anything. But if I eat dairy, it's like 10 times worse. But if I eat anything, it's just bad. And this has been a problem that has plagued me my whole entire life, but I didn't really realize how badly it was until I stopped eating breakfast and was like, holy shit, my life is so much better now. But before this, I used to eat breakfast every day. My mom would wake me up in the morning by pulling on my feet and dragging me out of the bed onto the floor.
As you do.
And then we would go down, and then she would have breakfast prepared, and she always made like omelets and pancakes and stuff. So like very dairy heavy items. So there were several times where I like almost felt like I couldn't go to school, and I was a really good student. So this was like the last option for me. Like I really wanted to go to school.
Wait, just to interject really quickly, are you the only one in your family that's lactose intolerant?
Yes.
Okay, so then this makes more sense. That makes more sense.
The one person in our family that does eat dairy can't eat dairy without suffering. But anyway, yeah. So I many times, like on the way to school, my stomach would just be in so much pain, like to the point where like it felt like somebody was inside my stomach and like just stabbing it from the inside. Just like fuck you. And it was really bad. And then there were times where like even though I desperately wanted a perfect attendance, there were times where I literally had to ask my mom and be like, I just can't. Like I literally can't today. Like it's too bad. And then what would happen every time that happened is my mom would sit me on the bed and then use Chinese acupressure, which is like acupuncture, but with just pressing instead of actual needles. And it worked every single time. It actually worked. Like she would like pinch like certain spots on my wrist and like between my fingers, and like that would just cause the pain to immediately go away.
Greg,
and I'd go to school.
Derailed needs a word of the day, and today's word of the day is placebo.
But I mean, apparently this is tangential, but apparently acupressure actually has some scientific backing in terms of how it works. Tangential, like it's somewhat related. It's not a full derail. Anyway, so this would happen most of the time, but there was one day, and this was the first day of 7th grade, literally day 1, 7th grade, and my mom prepared a huge breakfast because she was like, it's the first day of school, and I was like, I hate school, but I'm going. And then yeah, so this happened, and then the pain didn't start when I was in the car. It was fine, and then I got to school, and that's when it started to kick in, and I started to feel it, and I was like, oh, it kind of hurt. My stomach kind of hurts, and I was like, okay, but it's fine, it's bearable. And then every like 10 minutes, it would just like multiply in pain by like 2. And then it got to the point where after first period, I was like walking through the hallways, and I went to a public middle school that had a lot of people. So like there were people everywhere walking through the hallways, and like people started to turn into blurs. Like I couldn't see clearly. Like everybody was just blobs of color. And I had a friend that was next to me, and I was walking with them, and I literally like felt like I was walking in slow motion. Like I was dragging my feet. And then eventually the pain just started increasing more and more to the point that I started to black out. Like I couldn't see anymore.
Yeah.
And like my ears started ringing.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
so bad. And then like I was just like curled up, and then eventually I just fell on the ground, and my friend was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then after like 10 seconds of like temporary fainting, I got back up and went back to class.
What?
And then in class, the pain didn't stop. It was still like almost just as bad, but I was just like, I'm not gonna leave school. I'm gonna stay in school because I was that kid. And then eventually, it got so bad that like my teacher noticed that like my face was completely pale, like it was like white, and I'm not a pale person at all. I'm quite orange yellowish. so my teacher saw me, and she was like, go to the nurse. And I was like, okay. So I went to the nurse, and then on the way to the nurse, I went to the restroom. It expelled all the demons. Like I went to the restroom, and I went like 10 minutes later, I walked out of that restroom a new man. But I still went to the nurse because the teacher told me to, and then the nurse was like super worried because I told her about the whole fainting thing, and she was like, "Oh my God!" So she called my mom, and my mom
gave you a bag of ice.
See, this nurse actually seemed to like care a lot. So she called my mom. My mom came, and then they were both like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm actually fine. I'm good, bro. I'm ready to let me go back to class, bro. I'm good."
I took a mad note.
They were both so concerned. Like even after school, they were like, "Do you need to go to the doctor?" I was like, "I'm fine. Like I don't know. Apparently, pooping was the solution."
Very very different experience of nurses.
But after that experience, I then learned from now on that breakfast is the devil for me.
You have like tapeworms or some shit. Like.
But so now every time I wake up in the morning, I just use the restroom because it basically minimizes the chance of that ever happening. Damn. So I haven't dealt with that problem in a while.
Sucks.
But anytime I go on a car trip and like wake up early to go on the car trip, I'm always super adamant about I will not eat or drink anything. I the only thing I will drink is water. I will not drink like veggie juice or like soda. Because I know my stomach is like fucking weak as fuck in the morning. So I'm just like,
that's
not
very
in the morning.
interesting.
It's when I wake up. Yeah. So basically my body has to warm up before it starts working normally.
Bro is a 2005 Dell PC.
The other story is a Star Guide story, and I've definitely told you guys this story. But basically, the way Star Guides worked, and I'll explain in the future probably in our mental pain podcast, because this is a prime mental pain podcast topic. Boy. But Star Guides was basically I mean, you can search it, but it's a wilderness therapy thing, and then the whole me going there is a long explanation, so we won't get into that. But anyway. I was at Star Guides, and the way Star Guides works is every 2 days you have to move camp, and it's not like for any laws of like nature or respect. It's just because they want to be an asshole to you and make you suffer. So every 2 weeks we have to pack up camp, which involves a lot of manual labor, and then pack our bags and then start hiking to a new location. And then the same day we have to then unpack and then create camp again, which is more manual labor after the manual labor of hiking with our like 30-40 pound packs. Of all the camp stuff. So it just sucked. So this happened like every 2 days. And then usually I think we would go about 2 or 3 miles, which isn't that much. But when you have to carry like 30 or 40 pounds of weight and you're moving with a group of around 10 people who are all dragging their feet extremely slowly, and there's elevation and it's the desert, so it's like 90 degrees, 2 miles becomes like 8 miles. It feels really bad. Like it was only 2 miles, but it would always take us the whole day to go those 2 miles. So Anyway, so that sucked.
2 miles is
and
not
usually,
a short distance, by the way.
yeah, I mean, it's not like nothing, but it is like, you know, normally you can definitely make 2 miles in like an hour or two pretty easily, even walking.
Yeah,
but like with us, it took us like 4 or 5 hours easily to make it that distance. So usually we went around 2 or 3 miles. And like sometimes we would go a little further if we wanted to get to like a cool spot that the I don't even know what to call them. I guess the camp counselors like knew some cool spots around, so they would try to get there. So sometimes it would. That's probably more accurate. Yeah. So one of these days, our group was punished. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. I think it was because we took too long packing up camp, because typically everyone there are all like the worst kids, the worst of the worst kids. Only the worst of the worst kids and me get sent there. So the packing up camp process typically takes around an hour, and it involves filling in like the 3-foot hole latrine that we all shit in for 2 days, and then filling in the fireplace. And we can only fill in the fire pit after we crunch all the coals, because they don't decompose if you leave them too big. So we had to crush all the coals into like fine powder, and that would always take a long time and a lot of people to get done. So we would have to do that, and then we would have to cart the buckets of coal powder off to a hole, because we couldn't just leave them like on the surface. So we would have a hole that we would specifically put the coal powder in. So the crushing, and then the carrying, and then the filling in of all those holes, including the fireplace, and then also packing all your shit like separately, which takes a long time when you don't have bags and you just have tarps. Typically it takes about 2 hours to pack, which is a long time, but there's so much stuff to do. And what didn't help is that everyone there, like I said, were like the worst of the worst. So all of them were slow as hell, or just didn't do anything, like just sat on the ground and stared instead of doing anything. And there's nothing you can do. Like there's not like any punishment like that I can inflict upon them to force them to do work. It was literally just like, I just have to, if they're not going to do it, I just have to do it myself.
This is why we need a Harrison there, because guaranteed if Harrison was there, they wouldn't do this shit again the second day after Harry beats the fuck out of them first day.
You can't even fight, because like the staff break up any fights that happen. There were fights that literally happened and then got broken up immediately by the staff.
But
so like
it takes time for them to get there, right? I guarantee the people you've talked about, I guarantee Harry could knock their ass out.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
within a couple of seconds. So
though the one thing was, like, at the time, I wasn't such a hard ass back then. I was still very strong.
That's true. True.
He was more like me
then.
back then.
Yeah, back then, it wasn't until maybe I was like 17 until when I became a hard ass, and we can talk that probably will come into the emotional stuff because shit happened and whatnot.
So anyway, so one of these days people were just especially lazy, and then nobody was packing up, and like I was trying to do it, but like I get tired, like I can't do everything by myself, so like obviously. I would eventually have to stop to rest. And then like so the counselors would just watch, and all 7 of us would just be sitting there doing nothing. So they got pretty pissed, even though they never do anything, but it's not their job to do anything because they're just the people who watch us suffer. Yeah. So anyway, so we went on a punishment hike, and this punishment hike lasted all day. It was 16 miles.
Jesus
16
Christ.
miles carrying 40-pound packs, and also like we had to carry water bladders, and that adds like another like 10-15 pounds easily. And so we hiked literally from daytime to full-on pitch black nighttime. And this was the most tired I've been in my entire life by a huge margin. Yeah. Because I never, like, I'm still that kid. Like, I'm still the one who doesn't want to miss attendance and never says anything about pain, even though I'm suffering an immense amount about it. So even like mile 10 with like my body failing me, I still didn't say anything. Like, I still just kept marching forwards, even though everyone else was complaining and stopping. Like, I was probably in the worst shape out of everyone because I'm just the computer nerd, but I still was just marching on because unfortunately that's just who I am. So around the last mile, this moment I will always remember because this is the most willpower I've ever had to muster in my entire life. But I was wheezing, literally wheezing, and I could like feel that blood sensation in my throat. And I was sweating so much that my glasses were fully fogged up. Like I couldn't see. I was just marching forwards blindly, essentially. And they also kept slipping off my face because my entire face was wet. And my shirt was completely soaked. Like I was full on like
How hot is it? Because this sounds like hyperthermia.
It was the desert, so probably like
I think
85.
you were experiencing hyperthermia, Greg.
Probably. It was bad. I suffered long-lasting effects from this for days after this. But
Because
anyway,
everything you've described so far is like perfectly describes hyperthermia from what I know. So
it was bad. So we were nearing probably what was the end because it was getting dark and they never march through the night. So we were like, okay, we're finally almost done. And then we come up to a mountain.
Oh,
and
no.
then not only is this just like an elevation up, but there is a part of this mountain that the only way you can get up is climbing. Like you cannot walk. It's too vertically steep.
No.
You actually have to climb. So I got there, and my mental and like level just like completely dissipated. Like I was like, I'm just gonna die. Like I just can't make it up this hill. But the staff like encouraged me, and they were being all like, because they were all nice to me because I was a good kid who wasn't supposed to be there. So they were all like trying to encourage me. And then, man, I don't know how, but somehow I mustered a burst of energy to take me to the top of that hill. But that turned out to be a mistake because right after that, we still had like one more mile to hike. And that mile was the worst mile, is the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. Because I couldn't, like, it went from me just seeing white because of the fog in my glasses to black because my vision started darkening again and I couldn't see. And then like I just felt water like fucking pouring down my face. And then I couldn't walk straight. Like I was like bumbling forwards, and I was using the weight of the pack to send me forwards. Like I would literally lean forward so that the force of the pack would drag me forwards, essentially, of the weight. and I was like
symptoms of hyperthermia? Blurred vision,
and one of the staff,
fast breathing and heart rate, fatigue, headache,
I think that was it.
Or syncope, fainting, low blood pressure, muscle aches and cramps.
To this day, I'm convinced that we stopped because the staff next to me was very concerned about me because he was like, "Are you okay?" And I couldn't answer because I couldn't hear him. Like I barely heard him. I heard like, "Okay," and then all I could do was just like, and he was like, "Okay, we're gonna stop. We're gonna find somewhere to stop."
Bro, you climbed up the hill and they're like, "All right, good job. We still got a little more to go."
No, I think at that point I would have just given up on actual life. Like I would have just been like, brain tap out.
The story doesn't end there because we did finally find a camp spot, and then for 30 minutes I just sat on my pack trying to recover and finally regained my senses. And after that they were like, all right, time to unpack. And naturally nobody else there was willing to do any of the work, so once again it was delegated to me, having to dig out the fireplace, having to dig out the 3-foot latrine by hand. And it is just like, man, there's just, thankfully like that sort of stuff is not like, that stuff is more like muscle fatigue. It's not like stamina fatigue. So I was able to do it, but I just remember like, that is like when I went to sleep that night, I closed my eyes and instantly got knocked out. There was no like wait time because my body was so absolutely finished. But yeah, so that's the story of why I fucking hate stamina exercise.
If they had fed you right, Greg, I genuinely think you would have like came out of that jacked. But I don't think they probably gave you enough protein. Because like this sounds like basic training to the extreme, but without the food.
Yeah, no. Post Star Guides was the most like fit that I've ever been in my life. Because I wasn't jacked, but I was like, like my muscles were definitely like actually
defined.
Existing. Yeah, and they were like I could actually feel them like bunching up whenever I flex, and I was like, huh. Yeah, and then I went to it was funny because I went to Oak Ridge like a year later, and then it's like Oak Ridge was funny because like they tried to force you to do that stuff, but Oak Ridge is technically a school, so they actually like can't force you to do a lot of things. So it's like while Oak Ridge definitely sucked and there was a lot of physical shit we had to go through, it does not even come remotely close to Star Guides because like I could slack off. Like if we were all being forced to do push-ups, I could like skip a push-up or two or like do a wimpy push-up every now and then to recover.
Yeah.
But that just wasn't an option at Star Guides, so yeah. But yeah, that was something. And then the next day I was like ravenous hungry and I made this huge fucking pot of like oatmeal peanut butter. And then I ate like 3 bites of it and I was like, I made way too much of this. So then I went through another extremely painful experience because you're not allowed to waste food because it's the desert and you have rations. So I was shoving food down my mouth and it was coming back up at the same time. Like I was literally throwing up and I kept shoving it back down and eating more because I don't break rules. Like I have to finish it. And it got to the point where like, I don't know, like he saw my face or something, but he could tell, one of the staff could tell I was not in a good situation. And he was like, you can just throw the rest of it away.
He's like,
he could tell
chill, bro.
I was going through insane pain. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, don't worry about it this time, but chill.
Yeah. So it's like, I haven't gone through any like sudden like pain things. I've just gone through like extended periods of suffering.
God damn.
Yeah. But those are my pain stories. So basically, physical pain sucks, but
yeah,
honestly, I think our mental pain episode is probably going to be longer and I think possibly more painful.
Yeah, every like situation of physical pain, it's like physical pain doesn't compare because like unless you're dealing with chronic pain, you know that no matter how bad it is, no matter how awful it feels, like you know there's an end.
Yeah, there's like some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
and that's why I think burning is the worst for me. Is you don't know when the end is, and it gets worse.
That is literally like the only reason why I was able to make that hike and survive and get to the end is because my thought for every single step I took was I need to get to the end. Like I need to get to the point where we can stop. Yeah. Because it was like the longer I just sit back and like am lazy like everyone else and just try to take a lot of breaks, the longer this is gonna take. So I was like, even though this sucks, the sooner I get done with this, the sooner I'm gonna be able.
I think that's all.
So that was the singular thought that drove me.
Yeah.
But that's also why I think like for us physical pain it's bearable because like you can push through it because you know there's an end, but like you can't like it's hard to maintain that willpower with emotional pain.
Mental, it's like the opposite because it's like emotional pain gives you that sight of like this is gonna be forever.
Yeah,
like that was a big issue with like a lot of my like mental issues was just like I was so convinced that everything that sucked was going to continue sucking for the rest of my life. Like I didn't have any perspective on like the pain I was going through. So I think mental pain, like you said, it just really drains all your energy out of you. There's not really a good way to fight it necessarily. But that is an episode for season 5. Just kidding. I don't know.
5.
I don't know when that episode is going to show up, but one day it's going to show up.
Holy shit. That's going to be an interesting one because, like, I mean, you guys might have lingering, like, when you bring up pain and whatnot, lingering pain, or mental pain and shit. But, like, now, like, for me, if I talk about the past shit, it's just whatever. I don't give a fuck anymore.
No,
it's very strange.
That's my perspective of stuff too. I mean, I got over Star Guides pretty quick. I mean, some part of that was definitely like emotional suppression, but it is also like I think I've talked about it to the point now that I've mostly moved on from it.
Yeah.
The thing is, right?
So I don't think it will be a hard episode, but I do think it is going to be a very long episode.
It'll be a long episode.
We might have to like split it into 2 parts because we all have very long stories to tell.
We'll have to see how we want to order that too.
Yeah.
If we want to do like Greg's and then a dash in the middle to kind of buffer, and then I can go last.
And Dash, your life story is a buffer. Get fucked.
No, like to be fair, I was gonna mention it's like I remember like when we did this initially. This was our bonding experience. and like it just started with me complaining about my sister, and then just in general about like how I was like a little like unsatisfied with life all the time. And then like Greg said his Star Guide story, and like Harry said his thing, and I was like, yeah, I feel suddenly like maybe it wasn't so bad.
I think like two things. I think things have changed now. Like I think you've gone through a lot more. Like I've never gone through a breakup before, so I can only imagine just how terrible that is. But I know it's bad just based on. Like,
Harry hasn't either. Now that I think about it.
So yeah, Harry hasn't either.
No.
Yeah. So you're the only one that has suffered through that pain. Also, I think like pain is not really something you can measure because it's personal.
It's
to
very,
the person.
especially how you react to it and how like the time and everything around it. It's very.
That's why it's like back then I definitely had more of like a judgmental perspective on like back at governor school I was so like looking down on people for suffering through things that I considered trivial. But like I think my perspective on that has matured now. Because I'm like, I mean, to them, it definitely was maybe not as bad, but it was still like doom levels of mental bad. So it's like, I can't really like be like, oh, how dare you be sad? It's like, I think that's a little that's fucked up.
That is fair, but I know there are certain things that I definitely don't really care about. It was like, you know, when we were in like high school, we were in our same class for English 4 with Miss. Some of the kids who would complain about the work in Miss class or like just work in general. I'm like, no, bro, this class is shit easy.
Okay, but I will say that's different because that isn't pain, that's laziness.
That's true. That's true.
I'm talking about like people who like tell stories about pain they've gone through, and back then I would be like, that's nothing. Get on my level, bitch.
Guess what I've done. But yeah, I think that is probably the wrong approach to that.
I did have to learn that too. It's like how each like, I mean, okay, admittedly, I hate to give any credit, but. I guess that was one of the things I learned like when I was in a relationship is like to not like compare these sorts of things, and it's like she did have a point. Is like it's impossible to compare.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like
because you can never like know exactly another person's experience,
and also like everyone has
trivializing it is foolish.
It's like there's always a bigger fish. Like someone's always gone through worse than you.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't make your problems insignificant.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I think. Well, we're just gonna keep going with this shit.
We're hard derailing. This is a preview of the mental pain episode.
The one thing that I'm having issue with
8 hours long.
Oh yeah, no.
It's gonna be like at least like 2.5. I feel like if we do all of them at the same time, it absolutely is gonna at least.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so fucking long. But like talking about like the whole comparing thing. The one thing I have like I've started realizing that I do it a little bit more. Was like comparing intelligence, and some things that people say and do are just you're fucking. Like, what the fuck are you doing? This is like basic common sense. And like, sometimes I just gotta remind myself, you can't judge people. You shouldn't judge people off the certain intellectual things.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them don't have a choice. Yeah, like a lot of them are born
sometimes
into
it makes me very impatient with them, and it kind of shorts it. And I'm starting to realize like that's not very good. It's not something I should continue doing. But at the same time, when I'm just tired of shit, I'm just like,
I get it,
bro, you're hard. Fucking.
It is very difficult to
because it's coming down from people who are competent and going down to that low level of competence is kind of irritating, especially where I even though like to me maybe it seems trivial, but like it's just for a general college student in I mean if you're in I'm in college right now. I'm doing electrical engineering. If you're in electrical engineering and just in engineering in general, you got to have some sort of intelligence if you're actually going to pursue it. And like I'm a junior English. I'm a junior currently, and so like you've gone through all the basic courses and a majority, and to start touching on the more heavier course specific courses, which aren't the easiest thing in the world, especially for electrical engineering, I would say. Yeah. And it's like some things we're just dumb and just. absolutely ignorant about. I'm just like, come on. And then they have the audacity to like open their mouth and talk about certain things. And I'm just like, all right, if you're not going to help and you're going to ask me shit that, you know, I can't really explain, but I'm doing shit, but you're just going to sit there and like twiddle your fingers. And then when you do interject, it's not really helpful. Like, what the fuck are you doing here then? What is the point of you being here? It is
like, I think what you find is that intelligence is kind of a privilege to a certain extent. Too.
So, to add on to that, to what you said, Greg, this was one of the only conversations like I have a very clear memory of from my time in a relationship. And so basically like my ex's view on intelligence was like she doesn't judge people on it because like scientifically speaking, it is genetically some people are just born smarter. And so she was like she chose to judge people exclusively on kindness because that's a you thing. Like either you learn to be kind or you don't.
I feel like that's still sort of a privilege-based thing.
Yeah. So
I feel like environment very strictly warps your views on compassion.
So I argued this with her because I disagreed. Mostly because intelligence is all I have for myself. So I was like, no, I'm not accepting
also,
this.
Like, wait. Also, I mean, I don't want to get too in depth with this because this could be a whole podcast topic on its own. But I feel like intelligence is somewhat measurable. I mean, obviously you can't fully measure intelligence because there's different types of intelligence, but I think there's some standard to it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any standard for kindness.
Yeah,
because kindness is so subjective. Like you can't really measure kindness.
You can't measure kindness, but I mean, to judge people, it's just subjective. And so I feel like I agree that you can judge. Like kindness is something I judge people off of. Because to an extent, I agree with her. It's like, environment does warp it. I agree with you. But at the same time, it's like, I have met people who have gone through hell and aren't like, if you were a jackass, knowing your background, Greg, I wouldn't even blame you, but you aren't. And I respect you a lot more because you're a nice person, despite actually, I think, having enough, like, I think you have the privilege of being an asshole if you wanted to be.
Oh, yeah.
But that's like, true. But I was still raised in a way where, like, no matter what I go through, I think the only thing that could possibly change my personality is like full trauma. Like there was definitely some trauma involved there, but I mean, like seeing someone get shot in front of me, levels of trauma, I think would have to warp my personality. I'm gonna shoot
someone in front of you.
Okay. But I think so. The way I think about it is because like I think there are some people who just like don't have a choice, but like for me, my perspective is then just like get fucked. Because I think look, you have to live in reality one of two ways. You either understand that everybody is a result of like not just their decisions but also their parenting and their environment and all the things that they've experienced, and therefore nobody should be judged for anything. You accept that some people are just going to be assholes because they were raised in a way where they had no choice to be assholes, but that just means they're an asshole, so you should just treat them like an asshole.
So that's what
like it just doesn't matter.
That's what I was going to say is it's like even if you're raised to be an asshole, it is entirely possible to change, and I will still judge people if they're an asshole and treat them that way. Because I know for like it's not just you. I have seen examples of people who were raised with shitty parents, who were raised around people that were assholes, who turned out different because of conscious effort, not because like they were just born kind. Right. And so it's like I do respect it, but also in the terms of and the prospect of intelligence, I did look this up because this bothered me a lot. Right, intelligence is, from what I can gather, about 40% genetic.
Okay.
So so what that says to me.
So what you're saying is Asians actually are smarter.
Probably. So, but what that shows to me is a larger percentage of whether you are smart or not relies on you than it does on genetics.
I think, it's a mixture of environment growing up, and then at a certain point, it's kind of reliant on your like will to actually become intelligent or knowledgeable in some way.
So it is still my it is my actions that make me intelligent, not just a fucking group of X's and Y's in my goddamn DNA. So
right, yeah. I mean, you can have all the genetics in the world to be intelligent and then still not be intelligent because you just choose to be a dumbass.
Yeah.
Like you choose not to educate yourself. You choose not to break the boundaries of what you believe is true.
And so to wrap up this
it's
topic,
very easy.
I still judge
absolutely
people
derailed on this shit, bro.
Yeah, no.
We derailed so fucking.
I wanted to go back to what Harry said. And that is that to sum up, I still judge people based on their intelligence. And no, I will not. But
that's what I'm saying. You either choose to not judge anyone because everybody is always going to have some reason for something. Like there's never going to be anyone who's just an asshole because they just like the only reason they're an asshole is because they choose to be an asshole. Like there's always something else that is causing it as well. But like just because that's true doesn't excuse the fact that they're. I mean. At least from a purely subjective standpoint.
I was a huge asshole to a Dash when I first met him. Like, started interacting with. I don't even remember exactly why. I think it's because I just found him annoying as fuck.
Who?
You.
Yeah, when I first met you, like back at Marinkus, when we first went to Marinkus, I think I was a huge asshole to you. I still am a pretty big dick to you sometimes. But at this point, we're pretty huge dicks to each other.
I mean, you like slap him while you're giving a hand job now. Whereas back then you just slapped him.
Yeah. Well, I didn't just slap him. I fucking picked him up and threw him.
I didn't actually know that though.
No, yeah, I was a pretty big dick to Adash because I was like, this loud ass, skinny ass, bitch ass, annoying ass Indian bitch.
It's just that like people in POV, like genuinely, I didn't. That's just normally how I was treated, regardless. So I just didn't care.
Damn.
Well, not like everybody, but like enough that like it didn't faze me. But like these days I don't stand for it because I'm just like
you sit.
I'm not even finishing my topic. Somebody else talk.
Yeah, I think we need to wrap the podcast up on that. I think it's Harry's killed it.
Wow, what?
Did my mic fully pick up my disappointed side?
I think so.
The momentum dies when you sit down.
Because I didn't even know I was capable of a sigh of disappointment like that until it happened.
All right. Well, I'm pretty proud of us. I think we stayed mostly to the structure of what our original plan was. It went a little longer than I thought it was going to because we went on a huge tangent at the end, but it's okay. Yeah.
Hey, we got the main chunk of it in the beginning, and then towards the end, after everyone shared something, we started doing what we normally do and absolutely snowballing down some shit.
we were more focused.
So has the podcast like fully ended, or is it still?
No, not yet. We gotta give
damn
an
it,
outro.
Dash, you fucked it up now.
No, because I was like,
Dash was about to be like, it just goes insane the second the podcast
absolutely starts speaking.
I was just wondering when to stop my recording.
Okay, no, okay. I don't have like an actual outro yet, but I mean, typically you just.
Damn it, Greg.
Well, okay.
Here's how this is gonna work.
The topic.
I'm going to say like, we do that after the podcast. This is secrets. People
now you're breaking fourth wall so hard.
Don't break the fourth wall.
Okay.
The way this is going to work today is I'm going to say typically what podcasts do, and Harry, you're going to do it as I say those things. So first, you usually thank your listeners.
Fuck you.
Oh, thank you for.
Why did I choose Harry?
Hold on. I didn't really clock that until you said it. I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. I'm not slow, I swear.
This is exactly why you chose Harry.
I don't want to derail again, but something that has always confused me is a lot of podcasts, like at the end, they tell you where you can find the podcast, and I'm like, wait, aren't they already listening to the podcast? Like, how would they have gotten here
by clicking on our channel?
How to get here?
But what if you were listening on Spotify?
Am I going crazy here?
You were just gonna. It's pretty dumb.
The problem, okay, here's our intro. Thank you everyone for listening.
Outro.
We don't have a email. We don't have a Reddit. We don't have post our podcast on any podcasting sites. You can only find us on YouTube. We should probably create a custom YouTube channel though, and not just put it on like one of our random channels. So this will be on that channel, and it's probably going to be called Derailed Podcast or The Derailed Podcast or Derailed or something like that.
The big D.
Search all of those in that order. Not the big D. Don't search that because you will find something that you are not looking for. Unless, well, I mean, if you search for that, you're looking for that.
Bro, the movie huge.
Yeah, that's on you. Okay. Thanks for listening. I said that like 3 times already. This has been Derailed, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Yum.
Thanks for listening.